Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Four Corners podcast. My name is Colin.
Scott.
Steven.
Zach.
Before we get to our special guest for today, we do have a teaser for later this evening. We've been working very hard on getting this to be a video podcast. I know that's the biggest request we've gotten from everybody, so stay tuned to the end of the video, and we will let you know more about it. So, we're going to go ahead and introduce our guest, Scott.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, today we have the honor and privilege of being joined by unquestionably the hottest free agent on the independent circuit today, son of the legendary Brian Pillman, his son, Flyin Brian Pillman Jr. Brian, welcome to the podcast.
How's it going, everybody?
It's going great.
I'm glad to hear that. My day's going great as well.
Well, that's good.
It's doing even better now that I'm on the phone with you guys.
Thank you. We'll get with the first question here. I've seen you've been doing some tweeting about Dragon Ball Z, so I've got to know, and I'm sure others are curious as well. What are some of your favorite Dragon Ball Z characters and or series?
Dragon Ball Z was a big part of my life growing up, and I think a lot of kids of my generation really connected with it because it wasn't just cartoons and fights and stuff. You know what I mean? It was a story about sacrifice. It was a story about family as well. And a lot of us kids growing up, we kind of lacked that sense of family and that sense of just belonging. So it was really cool to see the camaraderie and to see the different arcs and stories play out in Dragon Ball Z. I was actually, it's funny because a lot of people didn't like GT, but I love Dragon Ball GT. I loved Kid Goku. I think Kid Goku's awesome. I really enjoyed Super Saiyan 4 personally. I'm a big fan of that. Really enjoyed the transformation and the different direction they took it. But as far as like standard Dragon Ball Z stuff, I've always been a big fan of Super Saiyan 3, characters like Gotenks and Goku and stuff like that. I really like the long hair, because they got a mullet like me, It makes sense. And like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, he had a sick mullet. Just basically all the mullet characters are my favorites.
Well,
you can imagine why.
Yeah. I was always a fan of Vegeta. I kind of liked the gray area that he would walk occasionally. Like sometimes he would kind of bounce between face and heel, but ultimately...
Yeah, I think Vegeta is a good example of how you should live your life because, Goku's kind of just like, oh yeah, I'm going to get stronger, yeah, this, that, and the other. But Vegeta's more a realist, Vegeta's like, I'm gonna fucking bust my ass, I'm gonna do this. It's like I'm gonna chase after Kakarot, and it's like Vegeta's more methodical, he's more planned out. Where Goku's kind of laissez-faire, like I'll just fight him and get stronger. Where Vegeta really takes his time and prepares, and because of Vegeta's cockiness, I think a healthy amount of cockiness in a human being is very good because it makes it so you do not, it makes it so you work harder so you don't let down people that are expecting, you know what I mean? Like if you're really cocky, everybody's like, oh, I'm waiting for him to fuck up because he's a cocky asshole. If you're constantly pressured by those people that are waiting for you to fuck up, then you're just going to pressure yourself to succeed more. So I think the Vegeta complex, so to speak, is not a bad one to have. And I think that's why he comes up as a villain, so many times, like you said, he turns and that. Because villains, in my opinion, are more realistic. And heroes are kind of just like, oh, just look at me, I'm here to save the day. They kind of show up out of nowhere. Where I think kids, honestly, should just role model after the villains. Because the villains are the ones that are like, I've been working 10 years at this, I finally got this plan, you know what I mean? They cover all their bases. They do all this work, and then the hero just comes out of nowhere and gets lucky and wins. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I think there's a lot you can learn from Vegeta, like you said, just him being a tweener and everything. and he's just a great character overall. So like, getting down into the deep shit, he's definitely like my all-time favorite. But just for aesthetics and awesome appeal, I really like. I like the long hair, I like the Raditz look,
Right.
Because like guys that just have like a very obtuse appearance to them. Very, they just look powerful, Like I like Brawley, I think Brawley just, you wouldn't want to fuck with him. And you wouldn't want to walk into a back alley. And in the video games too, it's like Brawley was always a force to be reckoned with. So I really enjoyed the video games. Those kind of helped keep me interested in the series and all that.
Well, that's awesome. That's actually a really nice take on Dragon Ball Z. It's a unique take, actually. I've never actually heard anybody look at it that way. But Colin here has got the next question here. Colin, go ahead.
So mine's a two-parter. So Scott and Steven got to wrestle a bunch way back in the day, but for those of us who didn't get to wrestle, first off, what was it like being trained by Lance Storm? And then secondly, what were some of the drills that he had you do?
Oh, okay, so like just getting into like the nitty gritty of training. Training with Lance Storm was cool because he left no question unanswered. He would typically answer your question that was in your head before you could speak it. He tried not to leave too much room for us to be guessing. He always wanted to make sure we knew the answer. He wanted to make sure we kept it basic, we kept it simple. And I think that's where a lot of the trainers these days are lost with where they're going, is they want to teach these young kids to do all these fancy moves, and it's just like, that's not where the foundation's built. Your foundation isn't built on top rope hurricane ranas and stuff like that. Your foundation's built on a good clothesline and taking a good turnbuckle properly. So we did a lot of drills that emphasized things like that, like taking turnbuckles and striking well and making your strikes count instead of just being throwing half-assed little hits. It's like, make everything count, make everything have a sound to it, make everything have some power behind it. And you can really just see that in my wrestling. It's it's kind of day and night between the wrestlers that were trained by Lance and the wrestlers that weren't. And I think it's a similar thing with like Rip Rogers at OVW. You know what I mean? Like, he has a similar philosophy. Like, make every little thing count. Make every cell count. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's all about, he didn't even let me do a German suplex up there at Lance's. And now that's one of my staple moves, the bridging German suplex. I had to develop that when I got home. Because he was so bent on just, keeping it simple and safe. And that, like I said, I do not hold that against him at all. I think that was a wonderful way to experience learning this business.
I would agree. Now, due to the intimacy of his training and the meticulousness, did he have large training classes, or were these like typical, like maybe 5 or 6 people?
No, like usually it's like back in the day he was more strict on like who he allowed in, and his classes were smaller. But I think as years went on and interest grew and people were starting to see, different types of people succeeding in this business, people thought, we can give it a shot too. And like those classes started growing and growing. But like I think our class is maybe one of the biggest, if not the biggest, because we had 20 people in there. Now, mind you, 4 of them quit. So then we ended up being 16, like, that completed it. But yeah, I mean, he was really hard on me. It's like, at the end of the day, like, he wanted me to be 3 times better than everybody else. So when it came time to, like, be at the end of school, it was like, he told me straight up, he's like, you're going to go out there, you need to be, better than everyone else because everyone's expecting you to be. And that was hard for me to kind of swallow, because it's like, damn, I'm just another guy breaking into the business, but at the same time, I'm not, So,
yeah.
I think the athleticism was there, and like, me doing the moves and like everything. I had a lot of good moves that he thought looked really good. But just the mental aspect, man. It's just it's such an art form. It's such a story that needs to be told, and some people just don't get it. I think I'm starting to get it now that I'm working so many guys that do get it, and they're kind of rubbing off on me, and I'm starting to get it, and we're all getting it, and it's like, wow, you don't have to, it's not as complicated as we build it up to be. So it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, just overall, like, super fundamental based. I'm not gonna tell anybody, like, if you've been wrestling for 5 years, maybe don't train up there, just because you're gonna learn a lot. Don't get me wrong, but you might lose interest because you might think and you're not above it, because everything he teaches is rooted in the best foundations ever. But like, some people might think they're above learning those little things. So if you're gonna go up there and spend $3,500 on training, expect to be going in and learning psychology and listening to lectures, and you're not going to be doing fucking, all these crazy moves and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it sounds like you were very fortunate to get Lance as a trainer. He's had a remarkable career everywhere that he's went. One of the best technicians that's probably ever been in professional wrestling. And he's got a mind to match.
Yeah, he's just such a good, like he's such a shoot athlete. Like, he's so good at, like, everything he does, whether it was basketball or volleyball, that he translated that to wrestling. And he told us, he was like, just treat it as if it's a shoot, and everything you do will look better, and you'll just be a better performer, all around. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Zach here, we'll have question 3 here. Zach, what do you got for Brian?
So my question is, when you come flying over or flying through the ropes, is there ever a time in your mind that you're thinking, oh shit, I'm going to miss, or this is really going to hurt?
Early on when I was training, I was very, I wasn't so comfortable in the air and performing some of the riskier maneuvers, but what I learned is that being nervous and being fearful is what will cause injuries and what will cause mistakes in the ring and so on. So you have to just be super confident with everything you do. And if that thought does ever enter your mind, then it's already too late. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So you just got to be. I think the biggest attribute, besides being athletic and having a good body and being charismatic, is just being fearless. You can't be in this business if you have any amount of fear inside of you, because it is a very dangerous sport. And you can't be in this business if you have no confidence, because you could be a terrible promo guy, but if you don't have confidence and charisma in the ring, then you can't be in the ring either. You know what I mean? So, just using someone as an example, like someone that's really does all these flips and they're really spotty, they can't cut a promo. But when they're in the ring, they're very smooth, they're charismatic, They look at the crowd and they soak in everything. Where some people are just like, they're not confident. They might be the greatest athlete on the world, but they're not like confident in front of people performing or cutting promos. So it's like confidence and fearlessness are the two most important things, I think, before you even get over into the nitty gritty of doing the moves and cutting promos and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Exactly. Steven here, question 4 for you, Brian.
So recently you have obviously debuted and been wrestling for for as long as you have been, but I was kind of wanting to know what went through your mind the first time you actually wrestled your first match.
My first match, it was about 5 minutes, but it felt like 30 seconds, and it was just such an adrenaline rush. My family was there, my best friends were there. It was at a small warehouse in Hamilton, Ohio, called CWAI. And I actually wrestled under the name Alex King because I was so nervous, and Lance really kind of scared me and warned me of the repercussions if I didn't come out the gate, looking like, being great. He's like, people are going to crucify you if you use your father's name, and you're not really good off the bat. And I'm just like, man, there's all this pressure. And then I went out there and I wrestled, and it was like, put on a hell of a show, and like I was involved with some kind of angle thing, and then come the 30th of December, I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna be me. Like I'm using my name because that's my name. Like no one can take that from me. You know what I mean? Like you can say I'm the shits. You can say I'm never gonna be as good as my dad. You can say I don't deserve all the bookings I'm getting, but at the end of the day, you can't take my name away. You know? You can't go in and file, change my fucking legal name. Like, I am Brian Pillman, whether people like it or not. And I'm going to come out and wrestle my ass off, whether they like it or not. And by the looks of it, people have been liking it because I've been, increasing the draw everywhere I've been going. And I've been sending people home happy everywhere I've been going. So I can't complain right now.
Well, I can tell you, we had Congo Kong on a couple of weeks ago, and we've been promoting both you and Kong separately, and I got to admit, and I don't think Kong would mind it, but you got a lot of anticipation and hype for this podcast because a lot of people are just so entrenched in what you've been doing so far and what you've brought to the ring and your passion and dedication that it's been so infectious to others.
I think it's just having a true and genuine story. So many guys, they get caught up in what's my gimmick and what are my moves? They go with my character. Like, am I gonna be a fucking Tiger Man or something? You know what I mean? Like they get caught up in that where people see me and they forget that it's not. They forget that wrestling space because they're like, oh, this kid's got a real story. His father was a real performer. Back when this sport was more or less protected, and it's like, like the emotions that he connected with so many people that are in the business and out. So it's like I got guys that are, coming up to me and talking to me in the locker room because they were so influenced by my father. So it's not just the fans, you know what I mean? It's like the boys are excited. Everybody's excited, and I think hype really sells in today's world, and I think social media helps build that hype. But at the same time, this hype is built on the foundation of a true story. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm fucking making up a bunch of shit for hype. Like I'm just hyping up myself and my life because this shit's really happening. Like there's nothing fake about it, So I think that's where that comes from. I think the emotional connection comes from there too. I think I connect with people on a very real front. Whether I'm just out at the bar with my friends or whether I'm posting it. Like every time I post on social media, it always counts. You know what I mean? It's never just like, oh, I feel like posting something. Like I never put a picture up on Instagram unless it absolutely means something and pertains to what I'm doing in my life. So I try to make everything count, just like when you're in the ring. Try to make every little move count. So that way when people do see it, they don't think, oh, okay, he just posted another status. Fuck him. He's fuck that guy. Like he's just talk shit. Like no, I post meaningful stuff.
It's all about a bigger picture, and these are the building blocks for that picture.
Oh yeah.
My next question for you, Brian. Aside from professional wrestling, what are some other sports that you enjoy watching or participating in?
So obviously I played football in high school. The big kind of like underdog in football, just because. Kind of the same deal. Like people expected me to be a pro athlete, like oh your dad was CFL, and then when I didn't have a dad growing up, right? So how is my NFL father gonna benefit me as a child? You know what I mean? Like if he's not alive, so they're like, oh this kid should be really good, but it's like no, actually nobody taught me how to throw a baseball. Nobody taught me how to throw a football. So when it came around to high school, it was like I was just kind of the bulky, masculine, uncoordinated kid, and they never handed me the ball. Nobody ever taught me how to play running back. And I was like, if I'm going to succeed at this, I just got to hit people, be very aggressive. So that's what I did. I worked my way up, and come senior year, I was an all-star defensive lineman just because, just out of sheer tenacity and just not giving, like I said, that fearlessness and that confidence and not giving a damn. And that's what led me to be a successful high school athlete. And then I ran into this sport called lacrosse. I thought, wow, lacrosse looks really cool. They beat the shit out of each other with sticks. I've always enjoyed Star Wars and swinging around fucking shit. So and it was kind of a new sport. It was a new sport in Kentucky, so the rules were kind of blurred. Like the referees didn't really know what was legal and what wasn't because they were just getting into it too. It was kind of a northeastern sport, but it came down to Kentucky. And I just remember laying some kid out. Just ran at him full speed and knocked him out and knocked myself out for a second. But I got up and he had to get carried out. So I bumped properly on it, so we're good. I did a little back bump after we collided, and everything was good. So I just think because I played sports like that, because I know what it means to be aggressive and to actually be in real combat with somebody, because I consider football and lacrosse, I consider those forms of combat just like anything else.
Do you have
I think that's what shows in my wrestling, and I think that's what separates me from some of these kind of finesse indie guys that kind of just like, you know what I mean, like they're more like dancers, and I'm more of like a fighter,
Exactly. Do you have any NFL players or teams that you like to watch?
I like the Ravens because John Harbaugh was good friends with my dad.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did not know that. I remember Brian had played for the Bengals.
Yeah. So my dad played for the Bengals, but in college he went to Miami of Ohio, and he was roommates with John Harbaugh, and they got in all kinds of trouble together. And
Wow.
when I was a little younger, John reached out to me and said, "Hey, come to the Ravens game. We're playing the Bengals. You can come down to the sidelines." I'm like, cool. The Bengals never invited me to the sidelines. And so I just said, fuck it. Everybody hates the Bengals anyway, so I'll just be a Ravens fan.
That's a hell of a story on how you became a Ravens fan.
Yeah.
I think Colin here's got the next question here.
All right. So we're going to shift back to wrestling now. So you've obviously got enough talent and a lot of talent that you could definitely make it to WWE, Impact, or whatever. So if you have a preference, would you rather WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor? Which one would you prefer to go to? Which promotion?
That's a good one. There's a lot of my dad's friends that work for the WWE. There's a lot of respect for him there. I know one time, William Regal reached out to me and we connected and we kind of talked and he set up a little tour for me to go down to the Performance Center. So I don't think it's like, I don't get to choose where I go, right? It's whatever opportunity presents itself is what I'm going to jump on first. And I think I don't want to be the one that goes to the WWE asking for favors. If they offer me a job to work with them after they see me progressing and see me traveling and putting in the actual work, then I would definitely love to work for that company, just like a lot of pro wrestlers would. But I also, on another note, I wouldn't want to go there so soon. And let me tell you why. I quit my desk job at a corporation because I was tired of, the 9-to-5 grind. I was tired of, being a small cog in a huge machine, right? So, as a young person, I wouldn't want to just jump ship and go straight to the Performance Center and be another small cog in a huge machine. I feel like I would want to travel and maybe try to get somewhere like in New Japan or like you said, ROH, somewhere with a little bit more, a little bit more freedom. I don't know what it's like in New Japan, like going over to Japan or even working for ROH, but I know that they're for the most part independent businesses that you aren't, you're not exactly locked in. There's indie guys that have been to both, and I enjoy the freedom of being my own economic entity. Being my own business and just setting my own schedule. I think it's a good learning experience. The saying goes like, people get into wrestling because they don't want real jobs. They don't want to be limited on what they can say on like social media and like what they can do, what types of events they can work, and there's just so many different crowds. And when you're an independent worker, you get to experience the different types of crowds. It's kind of like how the NXT crowd differences from the the main roster crowds, right? Like the Raw and SmackDown crowds.
Exactly.
Where with the independent scene, I get to experience all of that. I'm not trapped in the performance center, 9 to 5 every day. I can kind of travel and go to different places and experience that. But like I said, if the opportunity came up, I would be stupid not to jump on it. If an opportunity with Impact came up, I would be stupid not to come on it. But like you see with Impact, a lot of those indie guys, they can still work Impact and they can still do their indie dates. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's just a win-win being on the independent scene right now, as far as where I'm at in my career. But with all the respect I have for my father's legacy and like I said, his friends in the business that want to help me and help me succeed. If they gave me a shot, if they gave me a chance, I would just go at it 100%. I'd absolutely kill it and hopefully show up on some NXT programming as soon as I would be ready to.
It would be awesome to see you reach that platform. They've got a hell of a company there that they always have been, the most dominant wrestling promotion in the world.
Yeah, we all want to be there at the end of the day, but like I said, it's not like I have to be there right away. Like that could be where I end up at the end of the day, right?
That's part of the story is where it goes, not the end.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Zach here has the next question. Zach?
So, if you had a chance to wrestle anybody at any time frame period, who would it be and why?
Stone Cold Steve Austin, because he damaged some property of mine when I was a child. And I haven't had the chance to get my hands on him and get him back for that, and he never paid me back. And it's one of those things. It's like, it's cool, you don't pay me back in a week or two, but when you come on my property and destroy my things, and then you don't want to bring it up for another 20 years, and then finally come around and apologize. Like, to me, that don't cut it. You know what I'm saying?
There's some interest on that.
I'd want to get him in a ring. I'd want to beat him up a little bit. I want to make him bump around a little bit, put him in some dastardly holds, and see if anybody gave a damn. They'd probably just root for me for putting him in. In all honesty, Steve Austin, most successful draw in wrestling history. Just the easiest person to connect to on every level. Stone Cold connected with us because he had his problems too. He was just a good old boy. He still is. He's a very simple man. He's just the American. He's the man's man. He's the greatest fucking wrestler that ever lived. And it's like we get other guys like guys like CM Punk that connect with the straight edge community, and you got guys like John Cena that connect with the kids, and he's like a superhero. But to me, the realest superhero that connected with the most people was Steve Austin. You know what I mean? It's like John Cena is almost too perfect that he seems unreal, and CM Punk was all I'm better than you because I don't do drugs and stuff. But it's like real people do drugs. Real people drink alcohol. Real people are broken. Real people are not perfect. And I think Stone Cold captured that audience of we just want to fucking beat the fuck out of our boss. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Sure, we can all agree with that at times.
And it's just like he cracked a few fucking beers, and it's like everybody in the crowd's fucking drinking beers, and who doesn't like drinking beer? But different strokes for different folks. It wouldn't be a very technical match. We would just beat the shit out of each other. What types of matches I like? I like wrestling. I don't like overly, I don't like overly technical shit that like most people don't care about. It's like wrestling enthusiasts are like, you got the octopus hold, oh yeah, but it's like the kids in the audience don't fucking know what that is, Like, they just want to see somebody get punched in the face.
That is very true.
Yeah, so it's like you gotta appeal to to the people that are getting hype and just that energy level, you know.
So you have a Kickstarter for your kiddie pool that Austin destroyed. Has it got any money?
I haven't started up a Kickstarter, but I will be releasing my T-shirts for sale soon. So hopefully the proceeds from that will go towards replacing my my bathing pool.
And where can we find these T-shirts, Brian, when they do become available?
Oh, you'll know all about it. Follow me on Twitter at Flyin Brian Jr. and on Instagram at Flyin Brian 41. The first batch of T-shirts are only going to be available at live events because I want the fans that come out and pay for a ticket. I want them to get their first chance on a T-shirt, and then once that batch comes in, I'll start a pre-order for the next batch of shirts. That way I can get an idea of how many I need to order.
Well, I can tell you're probably going to need quite a bit because there's a lot of people that would like to see that pool replaced.
Oh, yeah. And the shirts are going to be badass, too. Just wait.
Steven, what's your question here for Brian?
So I know you just kind of, started wrestling like over the past couple months, like I stated earlier. But when you go into a match and when you come back, what is the one thing you hope fans take away from that match in the time that you're out there?
So the way it was explained to me is like the fans aren't going to remember how you locked up. The fans aren't going to remember the first few things in the shine or in the heat. They're not going to remember all these little things those things will keep their attention throughout. What they will remember is they'll remember the finish. They'll remember who won, and at the end of the day, they might not even remember that. They'll just remember if they went home happy. So my goal is to keep, if I'm earlier on in the show, it's to keep the crowd entertained and involved and make sure that they're not on their phones and stuff. But if I'm the main event, I want the finish of the main event to make sense, and I want the crowd to go home happy. I hate these, these heel, screw job finishes where it's like, oh, the crowd, they're just like, because it's supposed to make them mad, so then they come back for more. But all it really does is just not make them that mad, They're just like, oh, meh, But it's like, I might come to the next one and see what happens. But you know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, the crowd should go home happy. If there is a controversial finish, at least, make it mean something, you know what I mean? So, but, I'm a big fan of sending people home happy. So that's my biggest goal when I'm going back out through the curtain. I'm like, were they happy with that match? I hope so.
I'd have to say I completely agree with that. The finish is pretty important, and that's going to be the last thing that they see before they do go home. So it's important to make sure you've tied up all your loose ends in that finish, and the story was told properly by the end of the match.
No doubt at all.
My question for you here, Brian, is at what age did you realize that you wanted to become a professional wrestler?
It was always in the back of my head as a kid, when I was going through my struggles and sleeping on my best friend's floor for a couple of years. I always had in the back of my head, I was like, I know there's something out there for me. I was like, I know there's an opportunity. I was like, I know these people, they want to see me. Like, I hope they don't forget. Like, I thought people were going to forget about my dad. I was like, I hope they don't forget. I hope I'm old enough. Like, I hope they don't forget. I hope Vince McMahon and all the people that my dad, knew in the business, I hope they all don't die. I was like, I hope Triple H doesn't die. I gotta say this to myself. Like, I hope they don't die, because what if it's all new people in the business and they don't remember me and they don't give me a chance? And I remember just stressing out about that as a kid. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna stress out about it. I'm just gonna go to college. I'm gonna try to succeed on my own, because wrestling might not be there for me when I'm ready. And I was always told, I was always led to believe that it was bad and it was gonna kill me, like it killed my father and all this shit. So it's like I was kind of brainwashed to not watch it, and like it was always sour grapes to me. And then I just realized I actually succeeded at being average. Like I went out and like went to college and got a job out of college and like lived in an awesome house with my best friends and like always had money to do what I wanted to do and to go on dates and like party and all that. So I was like, if this is like if this is what you can do, like succeeding at being average, then like, I wonder what it's like to be more than average. I wonder what it's like to be great. I wonder what it's like to travel and be a star. And I'm finding out it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder of a life to do this than it is to just go to work every day and do what you're told. It's so easy to do that and to just fall in line with what everybody else is doing. And in high school, they tell you, oh, you got to go to college, you got to get a job, you got to do this. You know what? It's like, fuck all that. Like, if I can go back in high school and be a teacher and, like, they're, like, preach to these kids, I would just be like, dude, you only live once. Chase whatever dream, whatever opportunity you have. Do not let anybody stop you, because at the end of the day, we're all going to have the same size tombstone, and we're all going to be forgotten. So if you can be remembered, try to be remembered. You know, think about how long my dad's been remembered. You know, it's been 20 years since he's passed, and he's left a lasting impact on this business. So I think, to me, that's what matters at the end of the day is you know, having a family and not only letting your name last on through your family, but also having your name last on through the impacts that you had in whatever industry that it was that you pursued.
Well, I mean, you're pretty wise beyond your years, I would say, and that's damn correct. Every single word of it.
Yeah, but it wasn't until I was like 23 when I was just like, all right, I'm doing it. I told my roommates, I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna call Stone Cold tomorrow and see about this, you know, about getting into wrestling and see if he has any advice for me. They're like, really, man? They're like, you're just gonna quit your job? And I was like, yeah, like, I don't care. Like, like, I'm sorry. I mean, I've already fucking made it at being average. Like, what else do we have to do in this world? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and save up money for, you know, so many years so I can go on a nice vacation. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna save up for, you know, so many years so I can finally afford a new car. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go out there and like try to see how successful and how big I can be as a young man, and just see how far I can take it until I fail. You know, like I said, it's that fearlessness, it's that confidence that's gonna help anyone succeed in life.
And that brother, that is the truth. Colin here, this will be probably the last round of questions here, Brian, so probably 4 more questions here.
Okay, yeah. I'll try to keep them shorter.
Oh, no, you're fine. The floor is yours. You're the guest. Colin, go ahead with your next question here for Brian.
Well, I feel like you kind of really led into my next question. So, when you retire, what is the one thing you want the fans to remember you for?
Obviously, I want them to remember my story. I want them to remember where I came from. You know, I wasn't raised up in the system and handed everything. I wasn't groomed by my father to be like the next big wrestler. I was kind of just left out, lost out there, and I had to really pick up the pieces and find wrestling. And I want people to remember that, and just remember, like, I didn't come from a bunch of money and cars and stuff. Like, those things were taken away from me at a very young age. You know, I kind of, like I said, I started from being around drug addicts and being around just a shitty neighborhood and a shitty environment, and having to move into my best friend's house for 2 years and just sleeping on his floor and stuff. And just because I wanted a better environment, I wanted a place where I wasn't pressured to do drugs and all that. So it's like I've had to escape a lot of terrible demons in my life, and I want people to remember that it was a struggle for me. It wasn't easy, and I hate when people are, oh, you know, they don't say it straight up, but you know how they act, and it's like, oh, you're getting all these bookings on your name alone, and it's like, if only they knew what I've been through and what I've had to deal with. It's like, this is just my good karma coming back around for me, because I've dealt with so much shit in my life, and I just want people to remember that and know that. And I want to be an advocate for young men, you know, young kids that grew up without a father. There's a lot of those these days. I think a lot of the issues of today's world are because of single parent homes and stuff like that. So I want to help kids out, specifically young boys that, you know, they don't have a father or whatever.
I mean, that's something that the world needs, and there's not a whole lot of those people to
it's like
provide those.
Every school shooting, it's a young boy, and what's always in common? He's got a troubled past, he's got an issue with his father or something, and it's just the way society is structured now that we don't realize that a single mother cannot raise a young boy to be a man. It's not possible. It doesn't work out.
Say we live in a much different world now.
Yeah, there's just questions that like a young boy cannot ask his mom, like he needs a father, and we always seem to forget that. We think that everything's equality, everybody can do the same job, but it's just not the truth. Like, we forget that we're human, we forget that we're different, men and women are different types of people. We all have different strengths and attributes, and children need both. Children need a mother and a father. So, as much as people try to make it work, there's a reason that, kids that grow up with two parents, they turn out pretty damn good, so.
That is true. That is true. Zach here, what's your question here for Brian?
So I'm sure that you probably follow as much wrestling as you can. What is one of your favorite feuds that is going right now in any of the major scenes in wrestling?
I'm genuinely entertained by like the Bullet Club and everything they got going on, like Kenny and Cody and them. Now, some things I watch, like on NXT or other programming, and I can respect that it's cool and it's good, but I'm not genuinely captured by it. But I guess I'm just a huge mark for Kenny Omega. But
There's a long line.
I'm just like, when I watch New Japan wrestling, it's like I'm just genuinely entertained by it. The way that Cody and the Young Bucks, like the way they use social media and YouTube, because I'm not a person that watches TV. I don't really watch network television. I never have. So they're like my generation. You know what I mean? They're so new school. They're cutting edge. They're editing their own videos. I mean, they're putting out a product that's just like so good that I don't feel like I need to sit down and watch 3 hours of Raw. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can keep up with the storylines of New Japan and the Bucks and Cody and all them. It's easier to keep up with what they're doing, and it's just really entertaining. I like that Japanese style as well. What about you guys? What do you guys like?
Currently going on, we like. Well, I'll go with what I have been looking forward to. The thing with Cena, he's a pretty polarizing figure in WWE, and he's had a pretty checkered past when it comes to getting cheers and boos. But this year, it seems like it's a little bit different. That this is a different Cena. He's at the end, the twilight of the career, and he's having a hard time trying to find that WrestleMania opponent. I know there's been speculation on who it might be. But this feels like this is a Cena that the crowd has not really seen in the course of his career. He's down seemingly on his luck. The grizzled veteran, and he's trying to get back to the top just one more time to prove that he's still got it at his age. And to me, this is probably the best Cena's ever been in his career.
Yeah, and I think people are starting to realize, like, goddamn, he's succeeded on every front. Like you said, whether he's getting booed or he's getting cheered, he always knew how to turn. He always knew how to capture the crowd and to keep the crowd in check and control them and how they perceived him. So that's something like talk about in training. We talk about range. It's like, are you a babyface 99% of the time? Like, you have the range. Can you go heel if you need to? And Cena's got range. Cena's got just so much talent as far as controlling the people. He doesn't do jack shit in the ring. You know what I mean? He's not like doing all these moves, but he's really just connecting with the people. Like, he can hear what they're saying. He can hear how they're reacting, and that's what working is. Working people is listening and just playing off the crowd and not just going out there like, well, we're gonna do our shit. I'm gonna read my script. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anything he says or does is even like, I think it's all up to him. He's got a lot of creative control, I think. And I think those are the most successful wrestlers. I think people that want things done for them they're not going to shine through as much as John. I think people are starting to realize that he's going to go down as probably the greatest performer in wrestling history, like overall. And I think that's why people are starting to really like him again, because they're like, God damn, this guy's been working us for years. You know what I mean? Like, he's so good. Like, yeah, I think it would be cool if he wrestled Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
That would kind of that would be the target audience that a lot of the indie people really like versus the mainstream, and that would be a hell of a way to put a bow maybe on Cena's career.
Yeah, like people don't realize like how much shit on social media and everything's a work. Like the whole Daniel Bryan being injured thing, like not letting him back in with the doctors that won't clear him, like that could all be a work, you know.
That's very true. Steven here, what did you want to say about your favorite feud going on right now?
My favorite feud right now is kind of one they haven't really divulged into, and that's between Styles and Shinsuke. I'm kind of waiting to see what they're wanting to do with it, especially going into WrestleMania, with that being such a big blockbuster matchup, especially for WWE programming. Like, I know it's happened in New Japan before. Yeah, it's happened in New Japan before, but, like, the people who don't follow New Japan, like, you know, the mainstream audience and everybody, you know, it's something new to them.
It'll be something fresh to them. Yeah, I've seen the match in New Japan, and it was awesome. I think they're putting on that match because WWE, Vince McMahon in particular, is very competitive, and he likes to one-up people. And I think he's going to try and get them to have a better match than they did have over there, and really try to get them to push their limits. Like, you know, these guys both came here because they wanted this to be their destination. He's going to let them have a lot of control. I think he's going to let them put on a hell of a match.
Colin here, what about you? What's your current favorite feud?
I'm interested. I love what they've been doing with the women's stuff, bringing them up to an incredible level and equal to the men's, whereas before they were just, you know, out there as a pee break, sort of. I love all their stuff, but the biggest thing, I'm really interested to see what they do with Braun Strowman and what feud they put him in for WrestleMania, because that dude can work. The man is brilliant for somebody who's 385, 6'9". I mean, you wouldn't think he could move like he does, and I mean, we just watched Elimination Chamber, and that motherfucker's doing drop kicks. So he is brilliant.
That's awesome. Sorry, I was eating some cereal.
You're all right, Brian. You're all right. Zach here. What about you? What is your current favorite feud?
So I know this. They probably haven't announced much of this, but my big one is what are they going to do with Alexa Bliss and the women's title on Raw? Because we are all smart enough to realize that Charlotte and Asuka are probably going to wind up going at it for her title at Mania, and I'm curious to see if Alexa's going to get run over by Nia Jax or what the deal is going into WrestleMania for the Raw women's title.
Has Asuka lost a match yet?
No. She's still perfect.
Yeah, to me, they need to make a big moment out of that. Like, to me, it's kind of stupid because, like, where do you go with that game? Like, where's the end point? Like, she just never loses, right? So, like, I got this with my buddies who went to an NXT show, and she comes out, and I tell my buddy, I'm like, hey, 100% guarantee she wins. He's like, you don't know that. And I'm like, no. Trust me, I know. Like, she can't lose. And, like, to me, that kind of kills it for some people because it's like, why is she even in the ring? Why is she wrestling? What's the story? Every match should have a fucking story. You know what I mean? And if her story is that she's just the fucking Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and she never loses, and it's like, to me, I think Asuka's probably the fucking best female wrestler I've ever seen in my life, like, the way she works. But, like, you know, cool gimmick, bro. Like, you've never lost. Like, come on now.
Well, and I think Alexa's got probably one of the better sets of mic skills out of all the females that are currently in WWE right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Asuka, she don't even need the mic. She can just make her facials and
To kick somebody in the face.
I'm in love with that, so. But yeah, I think if they make a big moment out of Asuka losing, it should have a really big payoff. Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully that's what we get at
Like,
maybe.
if it's a big moment and she wins, then it's not a fucking big moment. It's just she just won another wrestling match. You know what I mean? Like, if we go to WrestleMania and Asuka fucking wins, it's like, why? Like, who cares?
Yeah, you don't want to sour out the momentum.
Mm-mm.
Well, I think we'll get ready to wrap things up here, but I do want to thank you, Brian, for being on the podcast and taking time out of your schedule, which I know has got to be grueling with traveling to Kentucky and Michigan and
Yeah.
all over God's green earth here. But
It's just today I had to get a bunch of stuff done in the house. And it's like I only have a few days at the house when I'm not, like, you know, like I said, traveling and going wrestling and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, we would definitely love to have you back on here as a guest again. It's
it was
been
a pleasure. I really enjoyed the way you guys did it.
yeah, it's been a phenomenal experience for all of us.
And you guys actually asked some pretty cool, unique questions that haven't been asked before. So I'd love to come back and do it again.
Well, we would love to have you. And everybody listening right now, make sure to follow Brian Pillman on Twitter at Flyin Brian Pillman Jr., correct?
Flyin Brian Jr.
Flyin Brian Jr. And make sure to keep a lookout for those support Brian Pillman's kiddie pool fund.
I want one of those shirts.
Each T-shirt, I'm gonna release. Once I have enough money to do a new edition of T-shirts, I'm gonna actually release a parody, a T-shirt of that. So, and that one will sell pretty hot too. But my flagship tee is the Rogue Horseman logo. I've barely changed it. I took one bit of it, flipped it over, and there was a Roman numeral 2 there. And I thought, you know what? This logo was meant for me. It was meant to be used by me. So I'm going to use it, and I think it's a lot of symbolism to me. It means a lot to me. I've grown up with that logo floating around and seeing it on people's T-shirts and stuff. And I think people, they really like it. You see that logo, and you're like, oh, that's Brian Pillman. So hopefully when people see this new logo and see how I've kind of made it my own, they'll say, oh, that's Brian Pillman the second, because, it's like a Roman numeral 2 and that. So I'm really just trying to build my brand, and I think I've got a clever idea of how I want to brand myself. So look forward to that shirt coming out. I hope to see a lot of people wearing it.
So I know all of us here at the Four Corners Podcast will definitely be buying at least 4 of those T-shirts off you, Brian, to help support the good fight.
Oh yeah, and that's the same thing. It's like people got to realize, like, you're supporting, one of the most real and stories in wrestling right now. You know what I mean? You got a young kid that fucking had everything taken away from him, and now he has this chance to go out and reach out to people and take it all back. So I hope people are helping, and want to support me with my shirts and stuff, and that just means more stuff will come out, more creativity, more ideas, and people will realize that, well, maybe this kid is a fucking solid performer. He's not just his dad, he's not just a kid with a name and a body and a few good drop kicks. He actually has something to offer this world. So at the end of the day, I hope that's what we can achieve.
Well, we're all rooting for you here, Brian, and for everybody here at the Four Corners Podcast. Colin, Zach, Steven, and myself. It's been an honor to have Flyin Brian Jr. here on the podcast. And guys, we will have another special announcement here before we close out.
All right, so we've been talking about getting a video podcast set up, and I'm proud to announce that, ta-da! We are in video podcast form starting next week. So I hope you guys will tune into that episode. Don't know what we'll be talking about, but I'm sure it'll be something fascinating. I know we've also got a discussion. We're planning on doing something involving Infinity Wars. For those people that aren't necessarily interested in sports and wrestling, we can talk about some other nerdy stuff. So love it. Can't wait to keep bringing you guys some good stuff. And also, we'd like to apologize for not being on for the past 2 weeks due to some conflicts of scheduling and stuff. So we hope to continue bringing you guys some episodes here in the future. But anyway, so for all of us at the Four Corners Podcast, we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Hey, no problem, brother. We appreciate it. We